Hey guys, Dustin here. Welcome to another episode of Horroritis. Today we'll be talking about Re-animator from 1985. I first saw this movie when I was a kid and way too young to be watching movies like Re-animator. But it stuck with me through the years and has become one of my favorite horror movies and made Jeffrey Combs, who plays the main character, one of my favorite actors. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The movie opens in a medical school in Switzerland. We see the dean and two guards and a nurse storming down the hallway to an office where we can hear a struggle inside. They pound on the door and finally kick it open, where we see Herbert West, played by Jeffrey Combs, is on top of his professor and has just injected him with a very, very large needle. They pull West off of the professor. The professor jumps up and starts screaming and holding his head, and we get a close-up of his face, and we see his eyeballs start to pop out until they finally explode and splatter all over the nurse. Are you starting to see why I like this movie? So after that, the professor obviously falls down dead. West ends up transferring to Miskatonic University somewhere in New England, where he meets Dr. Hill, who teaches brain surgery. Now, automatically, what does West do? He insults Dr. Hill by telling him that his research is outdated and plagiarized. Later on, West shows up at Dan's apartment. Dan, who has a very bright future within the medical school, has a room for rent, and West wants to rent it. Now, Dan's girlfriend Barbara, who just happens to be the dean's daughter, doesn't want Dan kind of mingling with West because West is kind of a creepy guy and, you know, she doesn't feel real comfortable about him, but West is ready to pay up front in cash and promises they'll never know he's there, so Dan agrees. Then, one night later on, when Barbara's over visiting Dan, she starts talking about how West still makes her feel uncomfortable and how even the cat won't come out when West is around. She then realizes that she hasn't seen the cat in quite a while, and she convinces Dan to help look for it. After a while of searching through the house, they haven't found the cat. So Barbara decides to check in West's room. Now, West isn't there, obviously, so she goes in and she's snooping around, and there's a little mini fridge there, and she opens the fridge and boom, there's a dead cat right in the fridge. So she freaks out, and West comes in and he's pissed because his privacy's been invaded, but then they start asking questions like, why do you have my dead cat in your fridge? And West tries to calm him down and explain that he found the cat dead and wanted to preserve it the best he could until he could tell them in person, because leaving a note would be kind of crappy.
What would a note say, Dan? Cat dead, details later?
So later that night, Dan wakes up to a ruckus and some screeching going on throughout the house, so he goes out and starts searching and finds that the noise is coming from the basement. He goes down into the basement to see Herbert West being viciously attacked by this monster cat. Or hilariously attacked by a monster cat, depending on how you want to view the situation. Either way, he fends off this cat and they end up killing it. Then he realizes that that was his cat the whole time. West explains that the cat had been brought back to life with the use of his serum that he has created that, well, revives the dead. Dan doesn't believe him, so what does West do? He brings the cat back to life a second time.
He was dead. Twice.
So this brings us right up to where things start to get good, so you knew it was coming, here it is. Okay, so this movie has two really good things going for it. It's based on an H.P. Lovecraft story, and it's got tons of gore, both of which can be attributed to director Stuart Gordon. Gordon has a propensity for taking the works of classic writers such as Lovecraft, Bradbury, and Poe and turning them into very good movies. He also adds tons of gore, which you can tell from some of his other movies like From Beyond, Castle Freak, and King of the Ants. He also made Space Truckers.
Nice lady.
Yep. Another thing Stuart Gordon seems to like is Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs plays the main character Herbert West, and Herbert West is the #1 cause of every bad thing that happens in this movie. and he doesn't even realize that he's causing the trouble.
You killed him. No, I did not. I gave him life.
Because of West, Dan, who has a promising career in medicine, is kicked out of school, involved in the murder and then reanimation of his girlfriend's dad, who, again, is the dean of the college.
Doctor, I'll come back to life.
Then he's also drawn into a battle with mind-controlled zombies. The only way he even escaped that one is because his girlfriend's dad, who is a mind-controlled zombie, realizes that his daughter is in trouble and suddenly regains enough consciousness to fight back and save them. But that doesn't even work because Barbara still dies. And at the end, it seems like everybody who's supposed to be dead is actually dead, and Dan could walk away. Dan decides to take a page out of West's book and injects Barbara with the serum as well, just as it fades to black and we hear screaming.
I love you.
Now this opens us up to a sequel where we get to see all sorts of more crazy stuff going on, and of course we do later on in the next movie. So it's pretty safe to say that Herbert West is an asshole, yet somehow we still really like the guy. But getting back to the gore, because you know I love gore. This movie has plenty of it, and it's in a steady progression from, oh, I don't know, a bone saw through the chest to a decapitation with a shovel, and the reanimation of the head and body separately, which was very nice. And then a zombie battle, which honestly, that scene could have been made way better if everybody had just done the Thriller dance. I mean, it was like 2 years after Thriller, it was quite popular. It would have been awesome, just saying. So should you watch this movie? Absolutely. But one brief warning. Since this movie takes place mostly in or around a morgue, like, most of your dead people are naked, and none of it at all is flattering, so be warned. So that's why you should watch Re-animator. If you haven't seen it, go check it out now. If you have seen it, watch it again because it's bloody gory fun. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't like this video, hit the thumbs down button. Be sure to tell me why in the comments. Also, if you have questions or suggestions, hit up the comments with those as well. If you want to get a hold of me in a different manner, you can check the description below for things like Facebook and Twitter, and there's a couple donation links there if you're interested. So, until next time, I'm Dustin, this was Horroritis, and as always,
Dan, look out.